I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
Buenos dias, salam, buongiorno, guten tag, aloha, konnichiwa, viva sasandugu, and my personal favorite, assalamu alaikum. It is good to be with you today. Today's topic is going to be on social media, 10 forms of bullying and 10 tips. Let's get into it.
I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
Go kill yourself. Why are you still alive? You are so ugly. Rebecca Sedgwick, an 11-year-old girl from Florida, received those mean, hurtful, tormenting, and embarrassing messages on her social media. They would ultimately lead her to jump off of her town's water tower to her death. In the fall of 2013, I would come home from school to read that story. I was stunned, shocked, and I was heartbroken. How could a girl younger than myself be pushed to take her own life? That's when I knew I had to do something to stop this from ever happening again. But the pain and the misery that Rebecca endured, it had already happened. The damage was done. My name is Trisha Prabhu. I'm 14 years old, and I'm from the great city of Naperville in Illinois in the United States. I'm passionate to stop cyberbullying at the source before the damage is done. I'm a big dreamer, and I believe that everyone should have the right to dream, persist in their dream, and see that become a reality. So when I read Rebecca's story, I immediately wondered, were there any others like her out there that were suffering as well? I'd soon learn that she was one of a countless many. Megan Muir died 3 weeks before her 14th birthday. She hung herself in her bedroom closet, where her mother would find her when coming up to get her for dinner. She'd received messages like, "The world would be a better place without you," on her MySpace account. The damage was done, and Megan suffered the consequences. Tyler Clementi was an 18-year-old student at Rutgers University. He was just getting used to college life and his new gay identity. One day, his roommate and a friend decided to use a webcam and a laptop to stream some of Tyler's most intimate moments with his boyfriend all over social media. The damage was done. Humiliated, Tyler took his life, jumping off of the George Washington Bridge. I wish more than anything that I could rewrite those stories. I wish I could make every perpetrator rethink what they did. But what if I could do that? What if I could stop the damage before it was done? Would Megan, Tyler, and Rebecca still be alive today? Cyberbullying is a huge problem. 52% of adolescents in the United States alone have been cyberbullied. And 38% of them suffer suicidal tendencies. Let's look at it from a global perspective. A quarter of the world's population are adolescents. We're talking 1.8 billion teens. Imagine then, in this social media revolution, how more and more of them are getting on social media and more of them are being cyberbullied.
Top 10 forms of cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is a worldwide problem that's growing fast. In this video, we'll take you through the top 10 forms of cyberbullying so you have the knowledge to protect your children. 1. Exclusion. Exclusion can happen in several ways. Your child might be deliberately excluded from online activities, conversations, or social media tags. Children who don't have the latest technology, such as a mobile phone, are prone to exclusion. 2. Harassment. Harassment is sustained and intentional bullying, comprised of abusive or threatening messages sent to your child or to a group. This can severely affect a child's mental well-being. 3. Outing. Outing is the act of publicly humiliating a child or group through the online posting of private or embarrassing information without consent. Even reading your child's messages on their mobile phone out loud can be considered a form of outing. 4. Cyberstalking. Cyberstalking is a dangerous form of cyberbullying in which attackers harass victims through online communications like email or social media. It also refers to adults using the internet to contact and meet young people for abusive purposes. 5. Fraping. Fraping is when someone logs into your child's social media account and impersonates them, posting inappropriate content in their name. Remember, everything rude or otherwise posted online may never be fully gone, even if deleted. 6. Fake profiles. Fake profiles can be created by someone to hide their real identity with the intention of cyberbullying your child. The cyberbully may also use someone else's email or mobile phone to harass them. 7. Dissing. Dissing is sending or posting cruel information about your child online to damage their reputation or friendships. It also includes posting damaging photos, screenshots, or videos online. 8. Trickery. Trickery involves gaining your child's trust so that secrets can be shared publicly online. A cyberbully will befriend your child, leading them into a false sense of security before sending their private information to others. 9. Trolling. Trolling means deliberately provoking a response through the use of insults on online forums and social media sites. A troll will personally attack your child, aiming to make them angry and provoke a response. 10. Catfishing. Catfishing involves stealing online identities and recreating social networking profiles for deceptive purposes. Catfishers look at your child's profile and take information to create a fake persona. This could involve using personal information, potentially damaging your child's online reputation. Please share this video with other parents to help spread awareness and put a stop to cyberbullying.
What is social media? Why is it so important to us? And finally, what effect do you think it's having on the mental health of all of us? Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Katanum Bevi, and I'm here today to talk to you about the unintended consequences social media is having on your mental health. Did you know a collection of Kenyan universities say that more than 60% of our youth are active social media users? Some of us spend 2 or more hours a day on social media, and I'm certain that anything we do for this long, anything we pay this much attention to, has an everlasting effect on us, whether we notice it or not. You see, the problem with the excess usage of social media is today's youth is tomorrow's future. And we ought to be using the internet to build ourselves, to be well equipped with the skills, knowledge, and traits required to build a utopia for all. But instead, we're using it to destroy ourselves and each other. And the worst part is, we don't even notice it. Today, I'd like to introduce you to 3 stresses that I believe are all caused by the excess usage of social media. These factors are commonly known and faced by almost 100% of all teenagers today. And if we aren't careful, these stresses could easily turn into full-blown mental health problems. So let's begin. The first one is insecurity. As I'm sure you know, insecurity is basically one's lack of confidence in themselves. And now you must be asking yourself, how does social media cause insecurity? Well, I'll tell you how. Each and every one of us here have a highlight reel. And just like in sports, a highlight reel is a collection of your best and brightest moments. Now, social media is your own personal highlight reel. You always want to show off your wins, best looks, amazing holidays, and unforgettable meals. And even though appreciating the good things in life isn't a bad thing, the highlight reel is the cause of most teenagers' insecurities today. And that's because we're always comparing our struggles or behind the scenes to other people's highlight reels. You look at a picture of your best friend on the beach and think, why can't I go on holiday? Why isn't my skin as clear or my body as toned? You see, all this insecurity comes from the constant comparison between you and the people you follow. The second stressor we encounter while going through our social media is the social currency. Now, just like the Kenya shilling, a currency is something we use to attribute value to a product or service. Now, in social media, the likes, the comments, the shares, this has become this form of social currency by which we attribute value to something. And the problem with this is we are the product. So when you look for the perfect photo to post and you get a like, comment, or share in return, it becomes a recorded transaction, attributing value. I'm sure more than half of us in this room have taken down a post because it didn't get as many likes as you thought it would. And I'll admit, I've been right there with you. You see, we took our product off the shelf because it wasn't selling fast enough. I want you to understand why this is such an epidemic. We are tying up our self-worth with what others think of us, and then we're quantifying it for everyone to see. The third stressor we encounter while going through our social media is FOMO, or the fear of missing out. This is a phrase that's thrown around lightly by so many teenagers, as so many of us have experienced this FOMO that it's become normal for us to ignore and even make jokes about. What we don't realize is, when we don't have access to social media or our phones, this FOMO very quickly turns into a social anxiety that causes irrational withdrawal symptoms. Now that we're aware of some of the negative effects social media can have on us, we need to figure out exactly what we're going to do about it. You see, even though social media can be dangerous, it can also be life-changing if we use it for the right things. It's important to remember that your social media experience could be completely transformed into healthy screen time if you wanted to. Today, I'd like to introduce you to this action plan that I believe could help you transform your social media experience into something that adds value to your life and to the lives of those around you. The first step is to build a strong value system. Values describe what is important to you in the way that you live your life. They are the very foundation of your beliefs and by nature influence your actions, decisions, and behavior. When we begin to make decisions based off our values, We start making very deliberate choices that reflect what is important to us in our lives. And not only will these values direct you when it comes to dealing with some of the problems that I mentioned above, but they will guide you when it comes to deciding exactly how and what you use your social media for. The second step is what I call collaborative creativity. Collaboration refers to two or more people working together to achieve the same thing. I'm sure we've all heard of inspiring individuals like Greta Thunberg, Lupita Nyong'o, or Wangari Maathai, who have worked tirelessly to starting movements, raising awarenesses, and making differences. So why not use your time on social media to collaborate with some of these individuals? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the only way you can use the social media positively is by starting a movement or doing something out of the ordinary. But even just learning about these movements and spreading the information is collaboration. Educating those around you and helping raise awareness is collaboration. There is so much that you as an individual can do to make a difference. The third and final step, be yourself. If there's nothing else you're planning to take away from this talk today, at least remember this: do you. For my 19th birthday the other day, my grandmother bought me this t-shirt to remind me that the simple fact that nobody is me makes me perfect. Don't ever doubt yourself or your self-worth based on the number of likes you did or didn't get. Social media doesn't have to define you or your life. You are perfect as you are. Likes or no likes. Shares or no shares. Comments or no comments.
So in discussing the 10 tips on how to deal with social media bullying, for me personally, I am not really a fan of number 2. Not entertaining the idea of social media bullying really doesn't do anything to solve the problem, and furthermore, it doesn't make it go away. It's always kind of there. 3, taking a break. I'm really not a fan of that either. There are times where we are on social media constantly and we can get a lot of different influences, so I do feel like it is important to take a break at certain points in time. However, I think 9 and 10 are probably the strongest tips that I do support in this particular video, because building a strong social media presence and only adding those who truly love you and truly care about you really will make a tremendous amount of difference in your social media presence.
So that year, for my science experiment at school, I decided to look at how age affected the willingness to post offensive messages on social media sites. What did I find? This younger age group, ages 12 to 18, was 40% more willing to post an offensive message than an older age group. Okay, the number didn't surprise me. But why? Why was that younger age group so much more willing to post an offensive message? I started to do a lot of research. And one day I came across an article, and it had one sentence that would forever change my view on this problem. They said, "The adolescent brain is likened to a car with no brakes. High speed, no pausing, no thinking, no considering. We just act." So why is it like that? Our brains are kind of weird. They develop from the back to the front, which means that our front part of brain, it's not fully developed until age 25. Why is that a problem? Well, prefrontal cortex, it controls decision-making skills, rash, impulsive decisions, spur-of-the-moment feelings. So that's why adolescents don't think before they act. They just go ahead and do something. Whether it's downing 15 Red Bulls on a dare, skipping an English final, doing something crazy, We don't really think before we do it. Well then, I was venting about this to a friend. I was like, gosh, this is horrible. And she said, Trisha, I really admire your passion, but you've been talking about this for the last 50 minutes as if you just discovered it. It's a huge problem, but social media sites are already doing stuff to stop this. And I went, oh yeah, you're right. But I'd soon find that what social media sites are doing is really nothing. Their mechanism is a stop, block, tell method. You stop what you're doing, if you're the victim, you block the cyberbully, and you immediately go tell a parent or guardian. Sounds pretty reasonable, but here's what actually happens. Adolescents, we're kind of afraid to tell people that we're being cyberbullied. Research shows that 9 out of 10 times, victims don't tell anyone that they're being cyberbullied. What's more, why are we putting the burden on the victim to block the cyberbully? Why aren't we changing the behavior in the actual cyberbully? And it angered me. There wasn't a single effective way to stop cyberbullying, and it was a silent pandemic that was affecting so many people around the world. That's when I had an idea. I know from my research that adolescents don't think before they do things, right? So what if they didn't think before they type? What if I gave them a chance to think about what they were doing? If an adolescent tried to post an offensive message on social media, if I went, whoa, hold on, you're about to post an offensive message to someone, that could really hurt them. Are you sure you want to post this message? Would they still be as willing to do it? I had no idea, but I was ready to find out. So that year, using my science and technology skills, I created 2 software systems. And basically, they were able to compare whether an alert that prompted adolescents to think about what they were doing actually decreased their willingness to post offensive messages. So for 4 to 6 weeks, I basically lived at my local library. All the kids were always giving me weird looks. But, in the end, it was totally worth it. I was able to get 1,500 valid trials of data. And what did I find? 93% of the time, when adolescents receive an alert that says, whoa, you're about to post an offensive message, they change their mind. I was able to decrease the willingness to post offensive messages from 71.4% to 4.6%. Think about that. My research proved that rethink before you type, rethink before you post, rethink before the damage is done is an effective, long-term method to stop cyberbullying at the source before the damage is done. So rethink has become insanely popular, I'm glad to say. Just a few weeks ago, I was at the Google Science Fair for my research. I'm a global finalist, and I also currently... Thank you. And I also currently hold a United States provisional patent for this idea. So now my main goal is getting this out there as a product and stopping cyberbullying. I'm currently working tirelessly to create a Chrome extension browser and a mobile add-on for mobile platforms. That way Rethink can go global and stop cyberbullying before the damage is done. Steve Jobs once said, "Simple can be harder than complex. Original, much harder than derived. But when you get there, it's worth it because you can move mountains." He is so right. Rethink has proved that in those few seconds, when you decide whether or not you're going to hit post, those few seconds mean so much in the future. So whether you're about to post an offensive message about the fat girl that sits ahead of you in your class, or your annoying boss, that can mean the fat girl's life or your job. So I encourage all of you, rethink before the damage is done. Very rarely in this connected world do we remember we need to slow down, pause, think about what we're doing. We're posting a message, and that has significance. So choose to rethink. Rethink before you type, before the damage is done. Thank you.